Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. Rumour has it show. Got a few rumours, few things floating around on the surface in regards of transfers and more. West Ham is just like topic of conversation. If it ain't a player going out the door, it's players coming in, and I've got three players that we can talk about tonight before we get into it. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, do all that malarkey, hit the notification bell, all of that game. Right, let's start off with this man who's been mentioned today. Max Aaron, a target for West Ham. Max Aarons is a target for West Ham, Norwich City player, 23 years old. He's been touted for big things in the past. Decent player for me. Me and Alf had a discussion earlier. Alfie's not convinced, but I definitely am. If you get rid of Ben Johnson, where I think Ben Johnson's pretty bang average, you bring in Max Aarons, I think that's a pretty good upgrade. I think Max Aarons has got a lot of potential. He's been a decent player for Norwich, but then people say, "Oh, he's been crap." But Norwich have had multiple managers, and under David Moyes, 23 years old, £15 million, I think it is. It's reported. I think that's a pretty good snip of a deal. I think. Do you know what I mean? Especially if Ben Johnson looks like he's on his way out the door. For me, um, Ben Johnson's in the last year of his contract. So if you don't sign a new one this summer, then I don't think he's going to be here. So if you get rid of Ben Johnson for say 15 million, you bring in Max Aarons on a long term deal for lesser money, because it will be lesser money. I think it's a good bit of business from West Ham. I really do. So for me, Max Aarons is a good player, fast, defensively can be worked on, but it is pace in that sort of right back area, and he can play left back and all, which also helps the situation. Like if he ain't on the right, he's on the left. And West Ham need pace at the back this year. Like that's one thing I will say on Max Aarons. Uh, do I think he will get it done? I actually think we will get it done. Like I really do. I think Max Aarons is the man for West Ham, but obviously people are not convinced on him. Yeah, I will get to everyone's comments at the end. I'll just go through every one by one, and that is that on Max Aarons. I think West Ham should get him in. I think there's potential there. I think there's a possibility of him going up levels with a better manager, better team, a bit more confidence. I would say that. Do you know what I'm saying? This kid was touted to go to Bayern Munich years ago for like £40 million, I think it was. Someone told me earlier on. I was like, oh, like what's that? Why did he not go? So if Max Aarons is the man to come in for West Ham, I'm all for it, 100%. This man, Denis Zakaria, 12 to 15 million bargain. Uh, Basically, the news is that it looks like he is on the cards. I see something earlier on. Now, whether or not it's true or not is another thing, yeah. But for £12.8 million with plus add-ons, yeah, which could go up to between 15 and 18 million. Even that is a steal. That is a steal for Dennis. Dennis the Menace, I'm going to call him. Uh, from what I've seen of this kid, 26 years old, Swiss international, he didn't really get a good go at Chelsea, but when he did play, he played all right. He did play all right. So for me, I think £18 million for a player who's 26, who's probably going to hit their peak over the next sort of 2 to 3 years, I think it's a good signing. I really, really do. I think it's the sort of signing West Ham should be targeting. We do need more in the middle of the park, though, and I do like this kid's energy. From some of the clips I've seen of this kid, I like his energy. I like how he sort of sprays the ball from left to right. I ain't gonna say he plays a bit like Deck, but he's got that sort of reading of the game, which is what West Ham need. We need someone who can read the game very well and who's got energy in both areas, basically. So if he turns up at West Ham, Dennis the Menace, for me, good signing, right? It's a smart signing from West Ham. West Ham are doing some smart business at this moment, yeah. And to target this geezer who literally no one sort of picked up, and Chelsea obviously had him on loan, I think it was for a season, and now he's back at Juventus. I think this is going to be close to done, and it won't be before long before I'm doing a video on this saying basically Zakari is here. Do you know what I mean? So Dennis the Menace. Let's hope he gets done. Finally, to this man, Harvey Barnes. We must get this done. Right. What can I say about Harvey Barnes that no one in my chat right now doesn't already know? I think this is one of the signings of the summer if West Ham get this done. Yeah. For how much I back Ben Rumour up, and I do back Benny up, Harvey Barnes comes in, he takes his place all day long. I like this kid a lot. He's got pace, he's direct, he scores goals. He's got this thing where I see something the other day about it, like a little video of him. Yeah, someone that sort of like edited up. And a lot of his goals were 1-2s, like 1-2, like he'll play the ball into midfield, someone will ping it off to him, and then he'll put it in the bottom corner. I can imagine that with Paqueta next season. I really can. And for me, I think Harvey Barnes is a absolute steal. I think it's been reported between 30 and 35 million. I see someone in my chat earlier on say that it could be Newcastle could come in for him. I don't believe so. Right, they've got Gordon in there now. I don't think they're going to go after Barnes. I just can't see it. I think the door is well and truly open for West Ham to go and get this geezer. They've had enough time to sort this out with this man. And for me, I think it's an absolute brilliant signing. Yeah. Someone said to me the other day, they don't think it's going to work with Barnes on the right. I think it's the perfect combination. The only thing with Barnes that I did hear last year from Leicester fans is that his work rate is not up to scratch. It's just not. Yeah. So if he's not up to scratch, then we've got a bit of a problem because obviously Moyes likes to have players who are workhorses. Yeah. But his goal threat and him going forward is absolutely top. Like, do you know what I mean? Some of the goals he has scored for Leicester. Let's remember the goal he scored at the LS against us was brilliant. Really, do you know what I mean? Laid off and back of the net and no problems. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, when I look at this and I look at Harvey Barnes, it's a signing that must be done. Must be done. There can't be no sort of hiccups on this one. I would be very, very disappointed and angry if West Ham let this one go. Do you know what I'm saying? I think he's why he hasn't been picked up by anyone else yet. I don't know. That's the only question that I do have, and I have a little bit of and ahhing on that. But if West Ham have targeted this geezer, there's no excuses. Pay the money, get the man in at the end of the day, and there really is no excuses. So for me, all three of these players that I mentioned, obviously Denis the Menace Zakaria, I will get his name right. I will. Max Aaron's, for me, I think is an upgrade on Ben Johnson. Absolutely. Yeah, it really, really is. And I think it would be foolish not to sign this geezer. He's 23 years old and he's only going to get better. You know what I mean? Give him a few years with West Ham and he might turn into an absolute gem of a signing. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, Harvey Barnes is another one that's been linked. West Ham need to get their move on in regards to transfers. I know the Declan Rice transfer isn't done, isn't like completed, like as in officially complete, because there's still and ahhing about the payment structure. But I will say this: once that's done, West Ham need to bring in 3 or 4 players straight away, up like boom, off the top of the hat. Do you know what I mean? They can't be hanging about and sort of waiting and waiting and waiting. Obviously, last night something come out about Alex Scott, and there's 2 other clubs that are involved in looking at him. Wolves and Spurs are looking at Alex Scott, and we're sort of further down the list. I'll be very, very disappointed if West Ham don't go in there and try and get Alex Scott out of Bristol City. Do you know what I'm saying? If Wolves and Spurs call their interest, which maybe they could do if other targets come up, West Ham needs to go and get Alex Scott out of Bristol City. I think that would be a gem of a signing for us for the future. Anyway, so I'm going to get into your comments. Let's see what you lads have got to say. Right, let's have a look. Max Aaron's won't be more than 10 million now. Only 1 year left on the contract. Well, if that is the case, then that's a bargain, isn't it? Because if you sell Ben Johnson for 15 million, right, or 14 million, and you get Max Aaron's for 10 million, good signing, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like Ben Johnson for me, I don't get the hype. I see something on Twitter the other day, and I was like, "What the fuck are they saying to me?" Yeah, and they're going about, they're blaming the manager and they're blaming everything else. But Ben Johnson's been here a hell of a long time, and he hasn't really got any better. Do you know what I mean? I don't see how he goes somewhere else and becomes this top player. When Ben Johnson first arrived at West Ham on the scene was against Manchester City away from home, and I think we lost the game 1-0. I think Sergio Aguero scored the goal that done us, up there. But he had a really, really good game, and we thought he would kick on for that. He just hasn't. He just hasn't at all, and it's a shame. But for me, I would be happy to see him go, bring in someone of like Max Aarons, who's got pace. This kid's got pace. He can carry the ball. The only issue with Aarons is defensively a little bit. Yeah. Someone said to me last night, they said, James, he's very good going forward, but his defensive ability is iffy to say the least. So unless West Ham are going to play a different system. Now, Aarons can play a different system, right? And you can use him both sides, which helps the situation a lot more. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'll be very happy if we get him for 10 million. I will say that. Freddie's never been impressed watching Max Aarons. A poor man's Ben Johnson. Yeah, no one can be as bad as Ben though, Freddie. Come on. He's got composure on the ball. You can teach a lad how to defend, but you can't teach composure when Ben hasn't got. Yeah, I agree. I think Barnes is a massive upgrade for us. I do agree, Dave. I really do. For me, listen, as much as I back Benny up and I sort of like vote for Benny sort of thing, I know when ability comes into play, Barnes is better than him. Yeah. And for me, it has to be like if Barnes, just think Barnes on the left, Bowen on the right, Paqueta sort of as a floating midfielder, right, box to box, and then you've got a centre forward up front like Skamaka or a new centre forward. Then we're going to be all right. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not really fussed about sort of the attack line just yet. Yeah, because I know Bowen scores goals. I know Barnes, if we get him in, he will score you 10 plus goals in the season all day long. Um, it's the central midfield areas that we've definitely got to sort out because obviously losing Deck, we don't know where Souček's going to be at, and obviously we've got a lot of issues with contracts and everything else. So yeah, totally agree, Dave. Let's get down here. Let Kafal mentor Aaron's for a year or so, and Kafal will help him defensively. Do you know what? If Kafal had pace, he'd be a top class player, but then he wouldn't be with us, would he? Do you know what I mean? That's the only problem with him. But I agree. Like, I think under a good manager, better team, better surroundings, better players, Aaron's will be top draw, top draw. Like, and for the price, and if someone who just said in my chat, he's worth £10 million, he's worth the punt. He's worth the punt for 10. He really is. Lee, hope you're all well, mate. Hi, James. Hopefully, we're going to get some players. Yeah, so I'll sign some players. I totally agree, mate. I really do. What sort of season has Scott had, James? For me, Alex Scott is become like one of the young player of the year or something in sort of the championship. I spoke to a Bristol City fan. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, someone tagged me. Yeah, and I spoke to him like on DM. I asked him about Alex Scott. Now I knew about Alex Scott about a year ago. Yeah, I knew how good that he could be, and I knew teams like Liverpool were looking at him but waiting. Yeah, um, I like him. I do. He's like your sort of eight, but he can do everything. And what he is good, he's good with one touch. Like he gets the ball out of his feet well. He can carry the ball. Um, he's like they call him the Guernsey Grealish, which for me is like hilarious. Yeah. Um, I like this kid a lot, and at 19, I think he is. He's worth every penny. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the way I look at it is, if he doesn't cut it the first season, the second season, he tears it up. As simple as that. And I think West Ham have to go down that route. Like the argument that I have with the boys is basically they want proven Premier League players. That's all well and good. But where is the sort of experienced players to go, you know what, we need some experienced players here. Yeah. But we also need some young players. Yeah. People who can come in and like be a sort of gem for us. Do you know what I'm saying? I look at Brighton, the way Brighton do things, and Brighton are the masters of it. Yeah. And the thing is, we get cut up about losing a player like in Declan Rice. Brighton have lost multiple players over the last sort of 2 3 years, right? Really, really good players. And like McAllister, they've just lost. and they just go out and find other gems, and that's where West Ham should be. Um, I don't like that way of doing it, but I will accept it if there's progression at West Ham. I will say that. What we got here, James? James, thoughts on EA's appearance last night, buddy? Yes, it was very entertaining having elite analyst on the old panel last night. He come on, had a good discussion. There was a few sound bites, a few digs at each other, but you know it was all ended well. All's well that ends well. Do you know what I mean, Alfred? So yeah, Aaron's Aaron's was good at Norwich in the Prem. I agree, mate. I really do. Fabrizio has just reported that there's been processing the Rice talks over the instalments. Makes sense today. We've seen to have started moving for a load of players. I actually agree there, yeah. And I just don't. One thing I do hope with West Ham, right? I really do, is that they've got a plan now. Yeah, I really hope they have got a plan. If they're going after these players, get them done. Yeah. What I can't understand is, and the only thing I will say is why the fuck have they waited for the Declan Rice sale before they started? Yeah, if they know Dec's going, they know it's been agreed. Like I just don't get it. Like, because what is the transfer budget this summer? Then do you know what I'm saying? Because for me, the transfer budget has got to be the same budget that it was last season. It has to be. Do you know what I'm saying? When you've just got rid of £100 million player, I expect 165 to 170 million pound spend this summer. Like, and we need it. Like, we are lacking in so many sort of areas. And I see someone put up on Twitter the other day. Yeah, I think it's Louis. Yeah, go and follow Louis. Good man, good kid, right? And he put up a sort of picture of all players. Yeah, in our team, and our team's fucking bare, mate. Literally bare. There is like it's just not good, and we need about 6 or 7 players just to be sort of competitive, in my opinion. So you know, it has to be. Hi James, I enjoy your shows. Lee, thank you very much, mate. Ever the supporter of this channel. Need some energy down the flanks. Totally agree with there, mate. 100%. Now, if West Ham go out and get Aaron's, I know that lad will pick the ball up down the right. And just picture this, yeah. Max Aaron's on the right hand side with Jared Bowen. Yeah. The overlapping ability on that will be powerful. Will be absolutely powerful. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I do like Kafel, yeah. I do like Kera, right? The only thing is, if you have Max Aaron's there, you've got someone with pace who you can bring on, and you can also bring if he doesn't start for West Ham, and he comes on as a sub, yeah, he's very handy to have because he's got pace, the kid. So if the game goes into sort of the latter stages, Max Aaron's is handy to have on. Do you know what I mean? Because he can carry the ball up the pitch. Right? I think he's a very good player. That's a shit club, and he needs a fresh approach and fresh team. Like that's what he needs. As simple as that. In my opinion, we need Antonio gone. I agree. Otherwise, Moyes will keep playing him to the terms of our other strikers. Totally agree. We've got here NA. Enough said. Fair enough, Alf. You know what I mean? Whatever you say. But yeah, for me, to sort of round it up on how I feel, I think if we get all three of these signings, we'll be all right. I think West Ham, for me, are really taking their time on Deck's replacement. Yeah, which is good. In one way, that is good because it means that they're working on a situation like with the rumours of everything that's going around at the minute. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if in the next few days you hear something like James Ward-Prowse, Paulinho, and all these other players. If I would have heard them straight after Deck was like looking to leave and go to Arsenal, I would have been fuming a little bit because I find that it's just an easy cop out. Yeah, you're going for a relegated side player and you're going for Paulinho. Yeah, right. And the Paulinho one just doesn't really do it for me. I just hope West Ham have targeted at least one player. Yeah, who's going to come in and be that main man. Yeah. Now if that is Zakaria, then great. Yeah, but you know I just don't know. I just think it's a bit sort of like I just hope this is not a scattergun approach. Yeah, that's one thing I will say. Faults on Sakara he's been ignored by the past two managers, injury prone. It's like buying a foreign Calvin Phillips. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I think at Chelsea, I think he was all right. I really did. He was okay. He didn't really get a lot of game time, but I see the game against City. Um, I managed to find a few clips of it. Yeah, and he played all right. He played pretty decent. Um, but I think there comes a time where you can't keep going to different clubs, and you got to have a bit of stability in your life. And I think maybe that's what he's having. I want to see some league starts from Bamba this season. I don't know about that, mate. If I'm honest, for me personally, I'd rather see this kid go out to a championship side or something. Yeah, so he can go in and bang 25 goals in the season. I think putting him in the league, I think it's a cheap cop out from the board then, because if he comes in, we ain't getting a striker. Yeah, because then we would have Ings, Skamaka, Antonio, and him. We have four strikers, and for me, Ings is not good enough. For how much I respect Antonio for what he's done at West Ham, yeah, all good things do come to an end, and I think it's time to say goodbye to Antonio and bring in someone younger and fresher and someone who can sort of like score more than sort of 10 goals in a season. Do you know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I can't see Fulham selling Paulinho for the. I don't know why I'm stuttering tonight. Sorry about that. I can't see Fulham selling Paulinho worth for a fee worth paying. Yeah, yeah, I agree. God knows why I'm stuttering. It's like I'm not having a stroke. Um, Fabrizio and Jacob confirm West Ham to earn 100 million by December 2024. Deal almost done. Such a shame, isn't it? Joe, what I still haven't really gotten over it, if I'm honest, but it is what it is. James, I agree with you. We need bodies, but I can't see us spending life last season. I'd be surprised if it's over 100 million. I think we'll have 60 to 70. It ain't enough, mate. If I see 60 or 70 million, then what is the ambition? Because you've got rid of your best player. You might as well have kept Declan Rice for another 2 years if we're gonna spend 60 to 70 million. I'll be livid. True Cockney. I will say that. I hope I hope to build a squad around Zaka and someone, but the injury stuff does worry me because we need to build around an engine, someone whose game in game out almost always plays. I hope Zaka can do that. Yeah, let's hope so, mate. Right, let's get to this comment. Do wonder if Barnes could bring the best out of Skamaka, a fast winger that will run past him. Possibly, mate. Possibly. Well, if you've got Bowen on the right and you've got Barnes on the left, I think we're doing all right. And with Paqueta, this gives Paqueta a license to play them through balls. But the ball that went through to Bowen in the final, you will see more of that. I do. I'm not on this vibe of set pieces scoring goals. Yeah, it's Sam Allardyce football. It's just not right. Yeah, West Ham needs to start playing the ball along the ground and balls over the top for these players to run onto. Now, if you've got Barnes on the left, Bowen on the right, and you've got Skamaka or another striker up front, yeah, I think I think it's good. I think it's very, very good, and I think we'll be all right. Do you know what I'm saying? I just hope West Ham get this done before we allow other teams to come in. That's the only issue I have. Because at the minute, as I take a drink, I'm a bit worried that with the Barnes one, I don't understand why West Ham are sort of stalling it a little bit. I know the deck deal was massive, but we need to get these done because I think it's in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks time. Pre-season starts. Unreal. Dear. Evening all from Glenn. Hope you're well, mate. A goal's a goal. Who cares how it goes in? I don't know, man. I don't know on that. Yeah, like West Ham trying to play like crosses and like things like that. Like, what's the point crossing it into Skamaka when he don't score with his head? That's the problem. Now, if Skamaka's our centre forward next season, yeah, and if he stays in, he's our centre forward. You're crossing balls into a geezer who just doesn't like to get his head on anything. You know what I'm saying? So there's really no point. And like trying to score goals from set pieces, I rate it, but that should be a bonus. That shouldn't be our main source of threat. Do you know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens there. Bowen, Barnes, and David up top would be ideal. you know what people say about Jonathan David? Yeah, I mentioned Jonathan David last year, right? I really did, and I turned around and said Jonathan David would be a really really good signing for West Ham. Yeah, and for me, if we go and get Jonathan David, I'll be over the moon. Yeah, because I do think he's talent. Yeah, he's rapid. The only problem I have with him is that I wonder how he's going to adapt in the Prem. Yeah. Now, there was another person that I mentioned, and we will do a show on it in the near future about our sort of 11s for next season. But Broja at Chelsea would be another good player for West Ham, centre forward. I think Chelsea are looking to get rid of him, yeah, and they're looking to get rid of him for about 17 million. I think that is an absolute steal of a signing, yeah. If you go and get Broja and Barnes and Bowen, fucking hell, right? That is that is a good energetic front three all day long. Yeah. And I know he's got his injuries, Broja, but I think he's on his way. He's on his way back, right? Because someone said they see him sort of playing again. Yeah, I think he's worth the punt at 17 million. And he's definitely better than fucking Danny Ings. I know that dessert. So we'll see what happens there. It doesn't make much sense to have Barnes, Paqueta, Ward Prowse. Then you have a clinical striker to finish the chances that they create. Well, Ward Prowse is not for me at all, if I'm honest. I love set piece goals. I love goals in general, West Ham online, but we can't keep relying on set pieces to score the goals, mate. That's one thing I will say. Do you think Dennis will play as an 8 or a 6? I think he'd be a 6, mate, if you want me to be honest. I don't know why. I, I, I think he looks good for a 6. I don't think he's an 8 type player. I really don't. Um, but every time I see him, sort of in these sort of like clips and videos up that people make, yeah, he looks like he's positionally aware, like he knows where he's going, sort of thing, and he reads. He looks like he reads the game well. You can only make what you make of it on a video, yeah, because obviously any video is meant to look good, right? But I don't know why, but I think he is an absolute really, really good signing from West Ham. Like really good, right? And as a 6, I think he'd be pretty tidy. Do I think we need more than just him? Absolutely. Onana would be the one for me. Go to Everton, get Onana. Yeah. Whatever happened last year, let it go. Yeah. Absolutely let it go. But Onana, for me, would be top quality. Um, the payment structure has been done. It will be paid by the end of next year. No Broja. Oh, you're okay. Trouble with Broja is he hasn't played for any football for 18 months. It is, yeah. But if someone said to you right now, if someone could tell me how old Broja is, I'd like to hear it, yeah. But if someone said to you, you got 17 million pounds, and like that's what it's going to cost you to have Broja. Yet again, it's another signing that it's worth the punt for me. It's worth the go, like because for 17 million, we've got fucking Maxwell Cornet for 17.5 million, and he just don't play. You know what I mean? So signing Broja from a terrible engine may not be the same player. I think Broja for 17 million is worth it. I really do. Do you know what I mean? Some players have really bad injuries and go over and come back strong. Brojo would be great with these through balls. Yeah, we could do a first like Danny Welbeck and get rid of Ings. Oh, Danny Welbeck, mate, he's still going strong, isn't he? Still going strong. Afternoon, Jimbo. Like Zakaria, but we need a proper splash out on a 6. Get someone high quality like Onana, Arabat, or someone at that level. Well, Onana is a definite for me. I said it last year. I was literally banging the fucking drum for Onana constantly. I was like, can't West Ham get Onana in, yeah. And then right at the death, it folded right at the death. Like literally, it was on the cards. It looked all good, all set up, and then Bosh, Everton come in and take them off our hands. Yeah, Arabat would be a class signing, absolute class signing. I thought, yeah, and listen, we have many debates on this channel. Anyone who sort of followed this channel for a long time, we have some fucking scorching debates, yeah. And when we spoke to the lads the other week, some of the lads agreed, some of the lads disagreed in regards of Arabat. I thought he won the show in the final in their midfield. I really did. I thought I don't think our midfield could get anywhere near him at all. I think he was dictating the play. He was quality, very very good. And for me, if we was to go and get Arabat, that I ain't gonna say it's on the same par as Declan Rice, but it's not far away down that sort of level. Do you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I think Arabat's very very good, and he'll be quality for us. I would say that. Onana will be perfect. By Zakaria has a 6, and I'm making the forward runs. I agree. Why doesn't Cornet play? Good question, mate. Like he's had, was it a rare virus? I think it is, or rare sort of illness or something. So yeah, he'll be back 2025 probably. Broja, Broja would mean West Ham have 3 to 4 strikers who are injury prone. That's a problem. Yeah, I agree. But the only problem with that, and I will say something on that, is that any man can get injured, isn't it? Like, but I agree, like having 3 or 4 strikers that are injury prone. But then look at Antonio. Antonio, we was all shitting bricks for a long time with Antonio, going, "Oh fuck me, we can't have him getting injured." Yeah, and last year his injury record was pretty immaculate, really, wasn't he? Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just think Broja could do it. I really did. You know what I'm saying? Hard to see Everton selling Onana. True, true, but Everton are in a bit of shit financially, though, I think. I will say that. Arabat is quality. Arabat is the highest quality DM I can think of that we can get. World Cup and the final, he was quality. Yeah, he was good, mate. I'm with you on the Nana James. If Arabat would want to come, those two would be slamming signings. I absolutely agree, mate. And that's where I sort of am with the sort of DM position. Yeah. I think if West Ham go out and sort of nick these little players in certain positions, yeah, take Ben Johnson out of West Ham, sell him for a nice fee, bring Max Aarons in, you gain some money on that. Um, if Skamaka goes, then you bring in someone else like Jonathan David or someone of decent caliber. Um, I think it could be a productive summer, big time. Yeah. And this is the best moment now. This is it, right? I said last season that the transfer window is the biggest transfer window in West Ham's history. Now, this season definitely is the biggest transfer window in West Ham's history, 1000%. With the amount of money West Ham have got at their disposal, they need to go out, pinpoint these players, get them locked down. I do not want to see West Ham scrambling about on the 31st of August or September the 1st, whenever the window shuts. Because if that happens, then it's just, they just don't fucking learn. Do you know what I'm saying? That's one thing I will say. Let's have a look. What else we got here? Onana was worth, what was it? Onana was worth it at 35 mil, but not at 55 mil. Plus, he's tried to shaft us in the last minute with wage demands. I don't know about that though, Trini. I don't know, mate. Do you know what I mean? I think even for 50 mil, yeah. Like, question for the chat: who would you rather have, Onana or Paulinho? I know I'd have Onana because one thing he's good at is he can pick the ball up and he can burst past players and carry the ball up the pitch. Paulinho's a very good defensive player, defensive midfielder. Yeah. But we need a bit more than someone who's just going to be a defensive midfielder. We need someone who's going to pick the ball up and carry the ball and all. Do you know what I mean? Because West Ham will, I don't want to be like rude of West Ham, but when we play games, we're mainly defending. Do you know what I mean? We're not out attacking these things. We're mainly defending and hitting these things on the break. So we need players who can pick the ball up from deep and just run with it, yeah, and carry it out of sort of defensive positions. Do you know what I'm saying? And Paulinho's not that man for me. He really ain't. Right, let's have a look. What else we got here? Give her about a 5 minute sign off for negotiations, palms. Yeah, I mean, I get your point, James. It's a fair point. I think if we could get Broja on a loan, that would be our winner. Um, possibly, possibly. I won't. I agree on that. Right. It's if you've got a season long loan, then it's a no threat, is it? But yeah, I would. Yeah, I'll go with you on that, Blue. I will. A loan deal would be pretty decent. What's your opinion on the Coventry striker we want? Well, he's on his way to Sporting Lisbon, mate. I saw it the other day on Twitter, and he looks like that's a done deal. Looks like he's on his way to Sporting Lisbon. Shame, really. Decent player. Literally perfect player for West Ham. Absolute perfect. The way he plays, holds the ball up. Literally, Mikel Antonio reboot, really. Do you know what I'm saying? But he wants Sporting Lisbon. You've either got East London or Lisbon. Where would you want to be? Do you know what I'm saying? On paper, your window looks pretty decent last summer. Shame Paqueta took a while to settle in. Aguerd got injured and Skamaka wasn't really given a chance. I think to answer that question, yeah, I think Paqueta took his time, but towards the back end of that sort of season, yeah, I thought Paqueta had earned his money then, yeah, because you could see the sort of money, right? You could see how he was performing. He looked very good, right, towards the back end of the season. At the start, I was a bit worried. £50 million, a lot of money, and I didn't really see him cutting it at that time. For me, Aguerd, I think you're going to see more of Aguerd next season, as in being a top defender. Don't get me wrong. In the air, Nath Aguerd is a problem, and he's a major problem, yeah. But on the ground, he's quality, absolute quality, right? So for me, I like him, and I always will back him because I know he's a quality player. Skamaka, on the other hand, needs to be given a run of games, long run of games, and basically let loose. He has to be let loose. Like I remember a game last season, Leeds away, and I always say it on these sort of streams. Yeah, Leeds away when he scored that goal, he looked very very good. Skamaka, do you know what I'm saying? And he just needs to be unleashed. And if it doesn't go right for like the first few games, don't get on his back. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because I know there's a talent there. Do you know what I mean? Rob Newman don't really pick up shit players, mate. That's one thing I will say. You ask a Manchester City fan, right? Some of the players that Rob Newman found at Manchester City were like gems, and they weren't mega signings, like millions upon millions. People like Vincent Company was like peanut signing. Do you know what I mean? David Silva was like, in the grand scheme of things, was like peanuts. Yeah, so I do think we've got some talented players. I will say that. Onana all day. Onana all day. See, that's what I said about Paulino Onana. Onana over Paulino. Paulino is slow as hell. See, that's the fear. That's the only fear I have with him. Good defensively, slow as fuck. Literally slow. And he's just, West Ham, we can't be slow. Do you know what I mean? We've got too many slow players, like, as it is. Let's get down here. We have got to stop buying old players and younger players in. And I think let's get younger players in. I agree with Barry 100% there, mate. West Ham need to go out and start buying little players from clubs, even if it's in the Championship or abroad, who are sort of 21, 22, and, develop these players. Yeah. The problem is with West Ham, and this is the argument I had the other week with the lads. Yeah. They want Premier League proven players. Yeah. But they want it now. Yeah. And I think the best time to sort of build West Ham would be bringing in younger players, accepting the season next season for what it is, and developing over a period of time. Because I do fear for next season. I'm not going to lie. I fear that West Ham are going to go down a level to go back up to the level that they once were. I don't think it's going to be a tin of roses. I could be wrong. I could sit here at the end of the window and go, you know what a window we've had, and my opinion could completely change. But at present, I'm just a little bit nervous about next season. Yeah, if we can get through it next season, like calmly and no aggravation, we'll be good. We'll be good. Moyes will have given 10 games, I reckon. Yeah, I agree. It's a big, big season for David Moyes. I will say that. Does Skamaka want to be here? I think he does. I think he does. I think he wants to play. Like, do you know what I mean? Skamaka don't look too happy. When we won the trophy, in my opinion, he wants out and back to Italy. But if that is the case, then you have to get rid of him and get the replacement in. Do you know what I mean? But now West Ham, they go with Ings next year. Let's get to this comment here. Well, it depends on the signings that come in. Spend the right money will improve to spend it badly. It'll be a relegation battle. The only problem is with it is there is a lot of issues at West Ham in regards of, first off, captaincy. Yeah, has to be addressed. Now, if it is Cresswell, I don't think it's right that we have a captain that shouldn't really be playing and it should be other players playing. Yeah, for me, it has to be either Nath Aguerd, Zuma. If Tilo plays, I'll give it to Tilo Kehrer. I think he could really have a go. Do you know what I'm saying? After that, it's a lottery, isn't it? Who else is there? There's not really no one else. So, you know, yeah. The man is in the house. Elite analyst. If you didn't see him last night, go over and check out the show I done last night, the Have Your Say show. About 40 minutes in, that man right there appeared and he had a very, very good conversation about James Ward-Prowse, Jesus, and Paolo Di Canio. So go over and check that out. JWP would be a great captain, don't you think, James? I think he would be a good captain, but is it right that we're going out and buying a captain? That's the question that I have. Should West Ham have to go out and buy a captain rather than having a player who's already here? Like for me, there isn't many at West Ham. I will agree, but it seems up in the air at the minute. It really does. Moyes will have to come out this season full guns. We cannot lose 20 games like last year. All our quality players will leave. Yeah, I agree 100% on that. Do you know what I mean? It's not so much. It's not so much losing the games. It's last season that irritate me. It's the way we lost them. That's more to the point. When you're going to the big six and we're setting up to basically defend for our lives and then trying to win the game in 15 minutes, that's not our West Ham play. Do you know what I mean? West Ham usually play better against the better teams. Yeah, West Ham have it's like the shackles are on. So you know it's got to change this season. I will say that. All right, let's have a look. Or Bonner or Cresswell surely has to be captain. Yeah, both players won't play though, would they? Let's be honest. More, let's defend and hope to cater them on the break. The Moyes who's on the cards. That's from Pete, all the way from Chelmsford. Hope you're well, mate. He is in a Moyes team which has been difficult for him, but does he want the Premier League physicality and work rate from the front? Plus, he has made no statement at all. We hear from agents that he wants to leave. Yes, I think if you're on about Scamacca, he has just changed agents. I'm sure of it. Ariana as captain, it's a shout, but do you really want your goalkeeper as captain? That's up for debate. Moyes has never had a good record against the top six things. Away from, oh, at home he's all right. At home, I don't think he's too bad. Away from home it's literally pointless. It's literally pointless. Like any West Ham fan who's in me chatting right now, when they see the big six away from home, and don't get me wrong, it's a hard enough game as it is, but it's extremely hard when you're going there and you're setting up like five at the back and trying to defend for your lives. You know what I'm saying? And there's been times before where some of these teams have been in their worst moment, absolute worst moment. West Ham turn up at their gaff and it's an easy 3 points. It shouldn't be like that. It really shouldn't. So, you know, he has got to change Moyes next year in a better way because he's going to have a lot of new players and there is no excuses for Moyes next year, really. You can take Deck out this team, fair enough. Good luck to Declan Rice, wherever he goes, yeah? And he'll always be remembered for what he done with the West Ham shirt. But we have to move on, and the players that Moyes brings in has to fit his system, yeah? There was too many times last year where West Ham played like 3-4-3, 5-3-2, 4-4-2, 4-3-3, like 4-2-3-1. I think we went through every fucking system last year, and it literally, in the end, it was like a pick and mix. Like you just didn't know what system he was going to play. So I've always called for the 4-3-3, and he has started playing the 4-3-3, which I like. I like West Ham with two inside forwards and a main striker. And if you get Barnes and Bowen in, and you get a centre forward there who's up for it. Now, if Scamacca's not up for it, then you got to get rid of him, and you got to bring someone who is. And at the end of the day, the fear I have is West Ham won't do that. West Ham will go out and try and find some sort of player, but Antonio will be given first reign, and it shouldn't be. Like Antonio, for how well Antonio's done, and listen, I respect Antonio for what he's done, but he shouldn't be our first choice centre forward next season. Right, definitely not. He has to be Oggy and Cresswell for club captain, Aguerd on-field captain. I agree on that. All right, James, mate. I've got to pop off. Great show as always. Thank you very much, mate. You take care of yourself and all the best to you. Looking at it, Aguerd has a big voice. I just think with Aguerd, he's a calming influence. Do you know what I mean? The only problem we do have, and which no one's really mentioned, is you've got the African Cup of Nations coming up this year and all. So we're going to lose Ben Rama We're going to lose Cornet. We're going to lose Agued. That's 3 players we're going to lose straight away. That's a bit of a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're going to have to sort that out. I do think away from home we have been unlucky a fair few times under Moyes, and as you say, most teams don't win there. The problem is, it's being unlucky. Listen, I remember a few games last season away from home where I was so fucking angry with the way he was setting up. I think the Tottenham game where Tottenham were in their worst moment, and he sets up with Flynn Downs as like an attacking midfielder or something, yeah, which I thought was just like mad, yeah. I remember Liverpool and all. We was unlucky at Liverpool because we missed a pen. Bowen missed a penalty, and it could have been a different game altogether if that goes in. But the Man United game away from home and the Arsenal game away from home, like the Man United game, they was huffing and puffing and we had them under control, but we had no threat. We just had no threat going forward. Yeah, it was like we hoof it up there and we hope for the best. The Arsenal game, we go 1-0 up, and in the second half we come out and we just fold like a deck of cards. It was just shit. So yeah, it needs to change. Well, what it is, and the problem is, just to sort of round out with Moyes, for how much Moyes has done very well, and he has done very well, and you've got to give him credit where credit's due, especially for winning the conference. Yeah, once the 12th of August hits, it's a different game. It's a different game altogether. And I know what's going to happen. I do. I know what's going to come. If we start off slow and start off bad or whatever, yeah, people are going to say, well, look what he done last year. He won the conference. Yeah. And oh, look what he done. Like he's brought us our first trophy in 43 years. Yeah. I could get all that. But new season, it's a new set of rules now. Do you know what I mean? New team, everything. So, we will see what happens. Was his outdated Premier League manager? Now he has been, let's be honest. I agree on that. What's up with Flassage? Yeah, Flassage. 9 million reported from Torino. So that's pretty decent. You can be unlucky in a few games, but if you're unlucky over 38 games, that's not luck, that's lack of ability. Totally agree. 100% agree on that. We ain't just a good enough in the Premier League. I don't see us improving under Moyes. Yes, we've won the European Conference League. I'm being honest. I think we will struggle this season to even stay. That's just to stay up. Oh, I don't know about that. I'll be very disappointed. 15 goals in Italy is the equivalent of 5 in the Premier League. 15 goals in the Premier League is 30 goals in Italy, in my opinion. Very much so, mate. Very much so. Right, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, I am going to wrap it up there. Get this one in quickly. Pete, a chance for the first few mistakes will dictate the new word justify their decision. I do think, just to sort of round it up from me, I think there's a lot of issues that need to be sorted out. Yeah, I don't like to say this, but I don't understand where they're going with Moyes in regards of like, I don't want Moyes to be sacked because you can't sack him. Yeah, but if you're giving the man a lot of money, I think it's a dangerous game West Ham are playing here, big time. Yeah, you're giving this man a pot of, and you just don't know where he's going to be in a year's time, right? I'll be very shocked, very shocked if West Ham start off the way they started off last season. Big game, the first game of the season, Bournemouth away. Yeah, it can be tricky in that game, right? Even though last year we made it look pretty easy, there has been times before when we go down to Bournemouth and we just don't perform. Yeah, and they seem to turn up. If we start slow this season, yeah, I don't think he'll last very long, boys. Yeah, and that's the fear. Like you're giving him a man a lot of money. Where if you're going to back him, you should just offer him a 1 year extension on his deal. Do you know what I mean? So instead of 1 year left, it's 2 years. So at least you know where you are. Do you know what I'm saying? I actually got a feeling, yeah, and I don't know why, and I've said it to a few of my mates. I think Sullivan sells next summer, and I think they're going to run his contract down. Boys, I think they will sell. Sullivan will sell his shares, and whoever comes in will have the option to either give Moyes a new contract or not. And I think that is 100% on the cards. Right? Someone said the other day about gold, the gold sort of state and all that. But if that's on gold side of things, It's not on Sullivan's side of things, and I just don't think. I think Sullivan will set up pretty soon. I will say that. So that's what I'm predicting will happen. Will it happen? We will find out. Right, that's enough from me. Go and enjoy yourselves out there over the weekend. Be safe. If you're going out having a good time, be safe and look after yourselves and all that. It's been a bit of a mad one I've seen on Twitter recently with people fighting each other and everything. You know what I mean? So just go out there and enjoy yourselves. You know what I'm saying? When I am back, I don't know. Right, I'm going to Burnley on Sunday, and I'm gonna get checked into the hotel, like some 5-star spa thing, that like training exercise thing that they want that I've been told to go to for 2 weeks. I've looked at the hotel. The hotel looks pretty banging. I ain't gonna lie. So my filming and all that will be pretty damn good. So yeah, I'm gonna be up there for like 2 weeks. Yes, but the show will go on. Like if it ain't me, it's Lucas, Mitch, and the rest of the lads. So yeah, and yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That's the main thing of all. Anyway, enough from me. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I'll see you again in the next one. Peace.